Once again, welcome to Oracle Database Administration, Competency 3, Supporting a Database, Managing a Database. Chapter 14 talks about maintenance. Now, before we get into this process, I need for you to think about business rules, organizational needs. How long do you keep information for IRS? Well, what does IRS recommend for you to keep information? 7 years, right? Okay, and then after 7 years you can trash it. In this world of lost emails that point fingers, some organizations like to keep data for a long period of time. Some organizations, the sooner they can get rid of it, the better. So one of the things you have to deal with is what has your organization set up as a policy, a business rule that will guide the process of maintaining old information, old data. Understand that that's also an economic impact. It's a spatial impact because you have to have a closet, you have to have security. You may have an environmental factor where you have to keep the room hermetically sealed or whatever to keep data going. So then the question is, as you accumulate data, do you archive it or do you purge it? Or do you archive it and then purge it? So there are some issues that are based on organizational business rules and how they support the survival of the organization. In my work as database support personnel, we used to meet annually to figure out, okay, what files have reached that point where we can get rid of them. Because we were having space issues. You know, we had a whole warehouse full of stuff that we had to, we were burning up money on rent. What can we purge? What can we destroy? What can we get rid of? So one of the policies that you have to look at is, as an organization, what are the regular backups? What is the definition of old data? 1 week? 1 year? 7 years? Once you establish the definition of old data, then the issue is, at what point do you archive it? At what point do you purge it? How long do you want to keep information? I mean, you can go down to the county records and go back 100 years, but that information is relatively necessary for the survival of that governmental agency. So you have to figure out just exactly what is required for your organization. Now that's separate apart from the mechanism that Oracle has, because Oracle has a recording mechanism, logs, that keep track of everything. And once again, these logs, which we've discussed, if you do not clean them up, can actually consume all the usable memory in a system. And when I was new at this, which would have been 91, I had a situation where it was working fine, the system stopped, I couldn't figure out what happened. Now this is when I had a 30 meg hard drive. Wow. Anyway, I couldn't figure out why the system stopped working, and I was lucky that I had an Oracle service agreement. And once again, in this process, as you're establishing a new system, I would recommend that you get as much Oracle support for the first year that your organization can squeeze out. That way you can debug the whole system. And then once you debug the whole system and you feel comfortable with it, then what I would do is go on an as-needed basis and figure out what kind of support you would need on a periodic basis instead of paying this stuff. Because the mistake I made the first time I was playing with Oracle, when I was talking about they said, well, what's it cost? And that's $5,000. I said, no problem, I can afford $5,000 a year. Come to find out, when they said $5,000, they meant $5,000 a month. So you have to make sure that in this maintenance scenario world that you want to get the appropriate definition associated with the dollar signs, because I screwed up big time because I didn't understand how the world worked. The other thing that you always have to do is password maintenance. God, that's a bear. Every organization should be able to have, every 6 months you're required to change a password, and you have certain rules on password. Also, user capacity. How much space are you going to get for every user to use within their little world that they deliver? So these are maintenance issues that you have to keep on top of. So chapter 14 talks about understanding regular backups, defining old data, understanding what archive means and what purge means, and understanding that there's these logs that keep track of everything Oracle does that you have to look at, because they will consume every piece of memory they can find while they're working. And then password management, make sure that everyone has good secure passwords, and make sure you don't run out of space. I mean, you know, on your car, most cars these days have this thing that says how many miles you have to empty, how many miles per gallon. Well, there should be a process similar to that in Oracle that says you only have 5% disk capacity left, and at your current consumption ratio you got a half hour of operation. So understand that there are these tools that are available to you, and that concludes chapter 14.